We have a winner. Results are coming in. We fill you in on all the local election results this evening. College of DuPage students share their thoughts on this election season. And joining us in the studio to discuss all of today's election news is Adjunct Professor Bill Enright of the Political Science Department. All that and much more on this special edition of Courier TV News. Hi, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nick Petrillo. Welcome to Courier TV News Primary Coverage 2018. Good to have you back, Bill.
Thank you, Nick.
Now, I want to start off by talking about the governor's race, and we have a projected winner in the Democratic primary. It's J.B. Pritzker running away with it at like 45% of the vote, and Kennedy and Biss pretty far behind each.
Yeah, it looks like I picked the wrong side of that again earlier. I thought Kennedy maybe could come up from nowhere and win it, but Pritzker used a lot of his own money, all of his own money, to get himself into a good position, and certainly it looks like the voters went with that after seeing all the different commercials that were out there, but chose Pritzker anyway.
And then on the Republican side, looks like Rauner and Ives are still in a pretty tight race.
Yeah, I saw that Rauner was pretty much giving a victory speech, but it looked like DuPage still had a lot to report, so I wouldn't jump ahead of myself if I was Rauner. Wait and see what happens in DuPage. There was some sort of mechanical error from what I understand in DuPage.
So this is one that might not even be called tonight then.
Yeah, not officially, but you know, we'll see maybe in the next hour or so still.
Now, how do you think the mood is at the Ives?
Well, I was over at Jeannie Ives' campaign party earlier, and they were in a great mood. They thought they were going to win. There was nobody who was down or thinking that they had a bad campaign or anything like that. It looked like they were really excited for the campaign and thought that maybe they could win.
Well, we'll see how that turns out. And Bill, you actually weren't the only person at Ives' party tonight. CNTV reporters have been reporting live on Facebook from election parties all throughout DuPage County tonight, and we'll bring you these updates in our election roundup.
I'm here at James Mendrick's watch party at the Hilton in Lisle, where polls have just closed for the DuPage Sheriff's primary. All of Mendrick's supporters are confident that he'll be the one to win the nomination. Mendrick was originally endorsed by outgoing Sheriff John Zaruba, but Zaruba later switched his endorsement to Mendrick's rival, Under Sheriff Frank Bibiano.
I'm a big believer in Jim. He's going to bring some reforms to the DuPage County Sheriff's Office. He is working collaboratively already with mayors and other leaders throughout the county, and he's going to bring a new energy and forward-looking processes and procedures into place in the DuPage County Sheriff's Office.
Here at Doc's Victory Pub in Elmhurst, Under Sheriff Frank Bibiano is hoping for some of that victory to rub off on him. We're going to see what Bibiano's supporters feel about him. Bibiano is fighting to become the Republican nominee for DuPage County Sheriff. He's received the support of many members of the Sheriff's Department, although his rival won endorsements from the Daily Herald and Chicago Tribune.
I believe that I can bring strong ethics, strong leadership, and strong law enforcement skills to the office of sheriff. I've been doing the job for 19 years. I'm well versed in the operations of the sheriff's office, and I believe with me the people of DuPage County will have a strong, ethical, and independent sheriff.
I'm here at Jeannie Ives' watch party here at the Abington Distinctive Banquets in Glen Ellen. Ives is wrapping up her aggressive primary campaign against Governor Bruce Rauner in hopes of winning the race in November to put a more conservative Republican governor in Illinois. Although she was trailing in the polls before the election, an upset is still well within her reach.
I believe that after doing about a month and a half of campaign work for Jeannie Ives, I truly believe that we'll see results tonight as the incumbent Governor Rauner made a lot of promises to us. Actually, I was on his campaign about 4 years ago, and a lot of his promises went away, and we just did not get a lot of things done for the last 4 years. But again, I've been putting in about several hours a day of campaign work for Jeannie. I'm a campaign coordinator for the Payless Township, and I think we might have a good chance tonight.
Now, we just saw a little bit about the sheriff's race between Bibiano and Mendrick, and do you think we have a call to make there yet, Bill?
Yeah, it certainly looks like Mendrick's going to take that one. I thought it'd be a little bit closer than this, but Mendrick at 60 to 40% with around 44 or 45% of the precincts reporting. It's pretty hard to overcome that, so I would say it looks like Mendrick's got that one.
Did you expect it to be this close?
I thought it would be a lot closer in actuality, and so when I saw that the numbers were coming in this way, I was a little bit surprised. But Mendrick did have the support of the rest of the sheriffs. I know that Bibiano did get the support of the current sheriff, who is Zaruba, but then the rest of the sheriff's deputies were supporting Mendrick.
Yeah, I saw there was a little bit of bad blood in there, but hopefully everything smooths out, and then we'll see what happens on the general election, where there wasn't a contested primary for the Democratic, but we'll see how that goes. And I want to pivot over to the 6th congressional race, because after Hillary Clinton carried that district in the 2016 election, we saw a very competitive race where 7 Democrats are fighting to take on Peter Roskam. And CNTV reporter Manny Lopez went to a candidate forum to learn about these 7 Democrats.
Now, I am honored to introduce the hardworking men and women who want to represent the Democratic Party in the 6th Congressional District General Election on November 6th.
I'm here at Barrington High School today for the Democratic Candidates Forum for the 6th Congressional District. Today, 7 candidates are facing off to see who's going to go ahead and run in November.
Whoever you think is the right candidate, I urge you to vote for that person next week. Vote for the person who best shares your worldview, who best identifies the problems that you see with the country. The person you think will fight for the things that you would fight for.
Tonight, candidates are facing off to see who will challenge Representative Peter Roskam in November. The 6th district is also expected to be competitive after Hillary Clinton carried it in the 2016 presidential election, even though Roskam easily won his own race.
The one issue that didn't come up tonight that I'm really passionate about is student loan reform. I personally have $100,000 in student loan debt, so it's an issue that I really care a lot about, and it's something that it's not only bad for those of us who are saddled with this loan debt, that we're not able to start our lives or start our careers because we've just got so much of this loan debt, but it's going to be a problem for everybody because the loan debt burden on the economy right now is higher than the mortgage loan debt burden was at the height of the financial crisis. So if we don't make some big changes on our loan debt pretty quickly, we're going to have an even bigger financial collapse than we had 10 years ago.
Yeah, Ryan Huffman stood out to me as he showed to me his professionalship, and also he came from a journalist. He was a journalist, and he's saddled with student debt, so he knows how other people feel, how millennials feel when it comes to getting a good steady job and having to pay off those debts. And I can relate to what he does, and he has that ideology that can push America forward into a better future with the bills he's going to try and introduce into Congress, and hoping to make our future better for everybody else, especially in generations to come.
It's important that everybody get out and vote, especially everyone who's in a minority group, because they're trying to take your rights away.
The most important thing is for people to get out and vote.
Get out and vote.
Look at how the 6th congressional primary for the Democrats is turning out.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably going to be a race between Miceli and then Kasten. And
they're neck and neck right now.
They're neck and neck right now, and so I wouldn't be even willing to call who's going to win that one. Although a 2 percentage point lead with Miceli, it looks like it's probably a pretty good bet, but still a lot to count. And so that's another one that's a little bit of a surprise. Another interesting one is that it's a female who's winning it, and we know that there's a lot of female running this year.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. And we actually just got another call to make. It looks like Bruce Rauner has been declared the winner of the Republican primary.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, by several news outlets.
Okay, I didn't see that. Okay, so it looks like then, in that case, then we've got 2 billionaires running against each other in the general election, and they're probably going to be throwing an awful lot of money at it. And so if you own a local television station or radio station, you might luck out this year.
Well, unfortunately, we don't place ads here at Courier, but it'll be interesting to see whether or not Ives concedes tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't look like she has conceded yet, and like I had mentioned, it looked like there was still a lot of reporting coming from DuPage County, which is where she's from, so maybe we'll still see some numbers changing.
All right, and now I want to pivot over to District 99 and their referendum for Downers Grove High School North and South.
Yeah, another interesting one. Oftentimes in these elections where you have a large turnout, you won't see a referendum go over so well, but this one looks like it's going to pass easily. And so the students at Downers Grove North and South will be getting maybe new computer classrooms.
All right, that's very cool. We actually talked, if you saw the 7 o'clock show, we talked to Jim Fuller from the Daily Herald, and he said that they did a lot of polling on this, so it wasn't a big surprise with this result then. So for once, the polls are right in an election.
Yeah, you never know for sure, and you don't know who's going to show up to vote. Even though they say they're going to vote, you don't know for sure if they're going to vote or not. But in this case, it looks like they were right about it, and good for them. I'm sure they worked hard to get that on the referendum and then get it passed on the referendum. So
Absolutely. And that's not the only local election we've had this year. The student body at the College DuPage recently voted for Student Leadership Council members. CNTV reporter Sarah Tashetta will introduce us to these newly elected members.
Last week, the students at COD casted their vote for the Student Leadership Council elections. The votes have been counted and our Student Leadership Council members have been elected. Yasmin Hajari's won the race for Student Body President, with Alex Carbonell winning Vice President. They will take over for Safia Han and George Beck respectively as the mouthpieces for students here at the college.
I believe that the first thing I really want to do is actually get student involvement. I want more students to be involved in activities and clubs and whatnot. But what I also want to do is actually be the voice of these students. I want to understand what they want. I want to understand their needs so I can get these across.
I would like to increase student involvement, by at least starting off with the small steps, getting a few people to get involved so that over time the amount of people involved at this school will be increased.
And Sonia Paul will take over for Luzalena Escamilla as student trustee to represent the student body in the board of trustee meetings every week.
I want the student body to know that I am all for diversity and inclusion. Being an Indian girl, I am a minority, and I think that it's really important to me and to a lot of other people to see someone like me run on a position like this.
The SLC encourages all students to be more involved in the decisions made here at the College of DuPage. If you have any ideas or suggestions, you can contact any of your new representatives at the SLC office in the Student Services Center, room 2214.
Now, before we go, Bill, are there any other little races you wanted to quickly touch on?
Yeah, the 3rd congressional race, it looked like the Democrats with Marie Newman and Dan Lipinski were in a pretty close race. Lipinski's winning by a small margin, but there's also most of the precincts have been reporting. But surprising that an incumbent has such a tight race. In the 42nd state representative race with the Republicans, it looks like Amy Grant's going to win that one pretty easily. That's to replace Jeannie Ives. And there was a lot of controversy in that race because of some accusations of ethnic slurs, and so I was interested to see which way that would go. And then the 4th district for DuPage County Board, also an interesting race. 5 people running for 2 seats, and it looks like Chris Aruba, who's the son of the sheriff, and Grant Eckhoff, who's the incumbent, look like they're probably going to win that, but pretty close race also.
Very interesting. And I know these are a lot of local elections, but do you think the results of these can speak to maybe some larger trends nationally?
Yeah, it's hard to tell in the primaries because you're still choosing a Republican and you're still choosing a Democrat. The real question is going to be when it gets to the midterms in November and we see which way the country goes or which way each state goes or district goes. And certainly some of these districts, like the 6th congressional district, if the Republicans were to lose that, that'd be a big surprise.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Bill, for joining us and sharing your perspective and wisdom with us once again.
And Nick, thank you. And I know you might be moving on, so thanks for interviewing me for the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely, Bill. It's always been a pleasure, but I may not be here in November, but I'm sure someone will be here to talk with you.
And I'll be here.
But I would like to close with one last thing. It's a segment we like to call Chap Chat. So thank you for choosing Courier TV, and we're going to leave you with what COD students think will be the next governor of Illinois.
I'm not sure. I think it could swing either way. I know my family is voting Democratic.
I don't know. I really don't even know who's running, so,
Pierczynski.
Why?
He's just great. I don't know. He's really cool.
Probably Bruce Rauner.
Why?
I've just seen a lot more of his political ads, and he seems pretty convincing, so, yeah.